Hey everyone, welcome to Traditional Division. I call this fact subtract slide. It's kind of one of the tricks that I put together along with a colleague of mine, Debbie Kerber. She had a little tweak to it that's really helped some kids that struggled with learning how to do traditional division. So let me walk you through some of the steps that I do to help out all of the kids, and we'll show you the little things we've added in. Let's start off with, what do we do? 87 divided by 6. For today's lesson for FSS Division Part 1, I'm just going to do a 2-digit dividend with a single-digit divisor. That's what we're going to be looking at here to show you how this works. One of the things that I tell all my kids to do is when we do division problems, put a little multiplication sign right there to remind us that what we're doing are multiplication facts. Okay? Now, FSS stands for fact, subtract, slide. And one of the ways we organize this technique, the first couple of days we do it, is by having some materials available. So I would have your students, if you're practicing this at home, first of all, grid paper helps out a ton. Then markers, crayons, or colored pencils will also help out here. And I use a note card sometimes with kids, and that's what my big blue piece is going to be here. It's going to be my note card. You'll see where that's going to come into play in a minute. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do a math fact. So what I do is I take my note card and I cover that up so that I only have a single digit here. Okay, and then I'm going to do a math fact. And what I do is I say 6 times what gets me close to an 8 without going past it. So if we're good with our math facts like we've been practicing, we say 6 times 1 gets me close to an 8. Okay, so 6 times 1, that's part of our fact. And since that's our first fact, I tell my kids we're going to draw a color around that. So I have an orange one right there. But that's only part of the fact, because 6 times 1 is 6. I have to have an answer for that too. I have to have a product. That product is going to go right underneath that number. So if I have an orange up here, I have to have an orange down here. If I decide I'm going to start off with a green, if I have a green up here, I have to have a green down there. That helps us to get the entire fact put together. So 6 times 1 is 6. Okay, so we've done the first part. There's our fact. Now we do our subtract. We're going to subtract these two and see what's left over. 8 minus 6 is 2. And now comes they love when I do the slide. That's how we always remember to finish that off. We need to move that card over, and sometimes I just draw it straight down. Sometimes I draw the squiggly slide. Whatever helps us to remember, we're going to slide that next digit down next to it. Okay? And now I tell them the process just starts all over again, but now here is our new target. We're not looking up here at this 8 anymore, we're looking down here at this number. And this is where people get a little bit confused sometimes, is they keep wanting to look up here, look down here to this target. So now we're going to go 6 times something gets me close to a 27. I'm going to go through those math facts again. We go 6 times 4 gets me close to a 27 without going past it. So that's the first part of our fact. Let's draw the green around it. If we have green up here, we have to have green down below here because that completes our fact. 6 times 4 is 24. That's going to go down here. And we're going to put our green around there to show that that answer matches with this math fact. Now we go to subtract. We're going to have 3 here. And then we would go to slide, but since we have nothing left to slide right now, we are just going to call that our remainder, our leftover. 14, remainder 3. That's how fact, subtract, slide, division part 1 works. Let's try one more before we move on. So let me reset our entire board. And as we're initially practicing this, you can kind of see some of the things I have built in, and I'll talk about them right now as we do this second problem. I make sure that I make my dividend big enough. So let's go now 94 this time. and I make my divisor small enough so that it can at least go into here once, just to start off with, because I want them to have to work this column. I don't want them to get in the habit of just putting a 0 there all the time. I want them to have to actually work this column. So let's call it, let's go with a 4 this time. Once again, I want to put my multiplication sign up there to show them that really what we're doing is a multiplication fact. So now we start working back through the process. Fact. Alright, well there's too much stuff here. Let's move this and cover it. That's what we're looking at. 4 times something gets me close to a 9. Either I'm going to hit it, or I'm going to stay underneath it. I don't want to go past it. 4 times 2 is going to get me closest. And that's the first part of our fact. So once again, I'm using orange. So I've got part there. And I need to have the answer, so I need to have orange up top and orange below. 4 times 2 is 8. So there's my fact. Now I need to subtract. 9 minus 8 is 1. And now I need to slide. So I'm going to get my note card out of the way. And now I'm just going to draw a straight down slide this time. And I'm going to slide my 4 down. And here is my new target number, 14. Now I say 4 times something gets me close to a 14 without going past it. You can hear how I just kind of stop and I slowly say that each time. 4 times something gets me close without going past it. That without going past it is important, and I'll say it a million times during this lesson. So 4 times 3 gets me close without going past it. That's going to be 12. And once again, I got to use my colors. There's my fact. There's the product to my fact. I have green up here, I have green down here. Now I'm going to do the second step, subtract. And I would slide, but I've got nothing left to slide. So this guy becomes my remainder. So like I said before, if you're going to practice this at home, grid paper helps out a ton. Using those different colors so that we keep matching pieces together and seeing where they're going. And using a note card to cover and hide some things so we're not looking at all this. As the student becomes better, we start pulling away some of those safeties. Maybe they don't need the note card as much. Maybe they don't need the colors. They can work faster. But this is always helpful at first, and it keeps their hands moving on the paper so that they're moving with me in the exact same spot. And that is fact, subtract, slide, division, part